India, the vast majority of our conversations are only about India. I think there is a certain insularity in our media. I'm always surprised by how little coverage there is of the rest of the world in the Indian press and Indian newspapers. And Professor Mamdani has, of course, as has been mentioned, written about the question of citizenship, sovereignty, violence, genocide, the nation state in Sudan, in South Africa, in Rwanda, in Uganda, Palestine, Israel, and the whole question of settler colonialism. So let me begin on a personal note. Let me begin by asking you that you grew up in Kampala, in East Africa. What vantage point do you think you might have possibly derived from having grown up there in looking into these questions?
Thank you first for inviting me to this fascinating conference the last 2 days. I grew up in Uganda. I was third generation of Indian descent in East Africa. One of the things about being a migrant is that you're never completely an insider. You're always both an outsider and an insider. And that gives you a privileged position. That privilege is to be both self-critical and to take all insider claims with a pinch of salt. So that's what I grew up with. At the same time, of course, I was an Indian in East Africa. I had grown up during the colonial period, where East African Indians had enjoyed a degree of petty privilege if you compared us to the natives of the country, what were called Africans. And so we looked at the world through racially tinted glasses. We tended to assume that we were better off because we were smarter, and they were not because they were lazy. This is standard racist stuff coming out of colonialism. So one of the questions for me as I look back is, how does a kid coming out of that kind of a context develop the capacity or get the opportunity to rise above it and to see through your own act? African Americans say the hardest act to understand is your own. You can critique other people, but wisdom is when you begin to see what's wrong with your own claims.